at Home. Hello and welcome to Sonnets at Home. This is an online immersive experience where you're going to enjoy some poetry, discussion, live music, and you also get to create your own poems for whoever is watching at home. So before we get started, why don't I introduce who we are? So we are Modha Ayu. We love making immersive experiences, live immersive experiences, in-person immersive experiences. We are at the core a storytelling platform that uses technology to create these immersive experiences for events, theater, poetry events, festivals, and many more. So the kind of services we offer is original content like Sonnets at Home, which you're tuning into right now. We also have client consultancy, so we can make immersive experiences for your event. And we also have merchandising, so check out our store at www.mudhut.io. So to participate, you need to scan the QR code that's on screen right now. So we've also put the link in the chat. So scan the QR code and tell us what love is to you. So this is really important, and towards the end of this immersive experience, you get to see what you do with those words. So as the poets say their poetry, as we share with each other, we want you to also share with us to tell us what love is to you, what experiences you've had with love. So just enter one word in the form. You can also put your name, and you can do this as many times as you like during the course of the event. So for example, you can write as many words as you like for what love is to you. So in terms of performance, we're going to start off with me. My name is Bumi, and I am a multidisciplinary artist who loves mixing poetry, plays, illustrate cartoons with technology. And today, I'm going to be sharing with you my own lessons from Heartbreak. So these poems are very personal to me, so it's going to take me a bit of time to start off with. So the poems I have for you today basically take you through the journey of the loves I've had so far in life. So my first poem is titled I have loved 3 times in my life. So here it goes. I have loved 3 times in my life. At least 3 times I care to admit. The first was unaware, but it did not matter because his heart belonged to another. I hurt him in retaliation, but I still gave him my time and myself, hoping he would see me, but he never did. He taught me you cannot force love. The second came to me by accident, but he did not feel the same, at least not in the same way. I still feel the pain, like a wound that never really heals. He taught me to be cautious with love. The third was a love only imagined in storybooks. He was forever in my eyes, but fate was twisted, and our love was filled with battles from the outside world. Eventually, we lost the war. He taught me sometimes love is not enough. I sometimes think 3 times is a charm, no more. But somewhere deep down, I still hold hope for you, my number 4. I hope you will teach me love can be forever. So that first poem kind of just starts off with my story and leads into the other poems I have for you today, and it's an anthology titled Lessons from Love. Lesson 1. You cannot force love, although love itself is a force, a magnetic force to be exact. When it is meant to be, it attracts. And when it is not meant to be, it repels. Try as you might, they repel away. Try even harder, they repel harder. Constantly pushing you away, leaving you in free fall. You cannot force love. Lesson 2. I am reckless with my heart. That I know. Like a child, I run carelessly, not looking at dangers ahead. I run and I run, free, my hair blowing in the wind, willing to catch any ride, at least suitable enough, ready for any adventure, unaware of stranger danger. Till one day, I got hurt bad. As I wiped away my tears, I heard my inner voice, like a mother soothing her child. Be cautious with love. Lesson 3. You made me laugh. And as I chuckled, it slipped out. I love you. Who said it first? Does it matter? All I know is in this moment, I love you. Today was a bad day. You held me tight. And as you cradled me in your arms, I thought, I love you even more. I fell asleep on your couch. You carried me to bed. I love you more than all the stars. It's the little things you excel at. But with the big things, you fall short. You weren't there when I needed you the most. Again and again, I start to question, do you love me? I question our love. You reassure me. But it doesn't make sense. I think you believe it, that you love me. I mean, that's the only explanation. You believe it. But I just feel your love is not enough. So, those are my lessons from love. So, to end it off, I have a really short poem that summarizes my journey and my lessons from heartbreak. I have loved 3 times in my life. The first taught me you cannot force love. The second taught me to be cautious with my heart. The third taught me love is not enough. But for me, the most important lesson through it all is to love myself first. Thank you. I hope some of those poems resonated with you and gave you the courage to share words that remind you of what heartbreak was to you or what love in general was to you. So I'm going to introduce our next poet, Tony, who is an amazing wordsmith. She also does a lot of workshop on poetry, and yeah, I'm excited to bring her on stage and for her to share with you her lessons on heartbreak. Hi. Hi everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. It's quite poetic that right now it's raining outside and like the vibe is very solemn. So if you're home and you're relaxed, I know modern flats don't have fireplaces today, but light a candle, grab a glass of wine, because we're entering the feels universe. And Rumi has really set the tone, really set the pace for us with the lessons on love. So I'm going to share a few pieces with you, 3. The first piece I'm going to share with you is in response to, I'd say, the last time I came close to love. And it's very brief. So yeah, enjoy. The funniest part was that I knew. Not that it was too good to be true, but that you were too good and therefore untrue. Not even to me, but to you. Yes, I knew. From the moment I let you into my life, like I had limited time with us in the limelight, I was on borrowed time like I had rented a Lime bike, but either way I knew. Because you were too good to be true to you. And that one is just about following your gut feeling in love. Like, you can feel things, but if your gut speaks, listen. Lie here. That's your for open your ears. Because the lessons that come after are not worth it. The pain that comes after, not worth it. My next piece is one of my oldest pieces. I wrote this over 10 years ago, but it's still one of my favorite pieces. And when I was told that the theme for tonight is lessons from love, and this is the first piece that came to my head, and it mirrors the piece encapsulates what I've witnessed in love from the relationships around me. Relationships like dynamics between friendships, between families, between my parents, between my siblings, my friends. Every relationship has somehow found its way into this piece, and it's my favorite probably top 3 pieces, and it's called Questions About Love. But I don't know that there are that many questions in it. So enjoy. If I were to love based on the love around me, following the actions of the love that I see, I'd be a cold lover. I'd be icy. But that is the reality of what my eyes see. From cloud 9, they've seen couples fall. They've witnessed the lover become a thrall and watched as romance has uninstalled itself from relationships, letting all things sink, leaving each other on the brink of what seems to be worse than love. The joys of this emotion are non-existent, for the passion required is inconsistent, and those within proximity are now so distant, while misery seems to be the only thing persistent. The
fear of loneliness seems to exceed personal felicity, and happiness itself loses all simplicity, and love then becomes the toxicity to which we apply to each other in complicity. You see, love was meant to be a feeling of bliss, so my mind and my eyes are at war by this. How does one go from perfect to a lover amiss, and can they ever return? I've seen love damage more than a hurricane, leaving people clueless, knowing not where to start again. Confused as to who's the victim and to whom belongs the blame, destroying all foundations, leaving their hearts along the vein of love. My pupils are learners of vision. Sight is the school in which they attend. Experience their teacher, sagacity their friend. So they watch and learn and take notes to the brain and try to work out the way things should end. But the reality is that it's never the same. To some, it's a quest, to others, it's a game. So the endings are different to each and every name. But one thing that's constant is that they all experience pain. However, some adapt to smile, renewing it each day, while others give up and simply walk away. Just know that no two lovers love the same way. Thus, I've grown to use my heart less, therefore seeming heartless, when in fact I am guarding my heart lest someone makes it feel safe. For I aim to be a lover, sorry to a fool. For in love I find it may be sorrowful. And to what essence is this if love is of sorrowful? So I shy away my personal cocoon and delay observing the outside life of what they call love. Thus my eyes have become a window to my mind, and their sights have overpowered decisions that are mine. Love no longer comes from deep within my heart, but rather what my eyes have seen and learned as an art. Is love a wine? Should age define how it would grow to be so fine, or does one just learn to love over time? Or does one just practice, live and dine, grow in love and learn by mind and not I? For who really holds the manual to love? If we did it in our own way, without plagiarizing the movies, simply love and live instead of allocating duties, would this work out as there'll be nothing to work out? My eyes have seen how not to love. I'm just not sure if I ever can. But I am yet to learn how to love or to ever be loved by a man. And yeah, my last piece, it's just a little note to, I guess, the people that come after me about the lessons. And this is called Letter to You. When I think of the lessons I want to teach you, the advice I want to leave with you, I often think about the harsh dealings of life. I often think about the harsh dealings life has served and my greatest takeaways. I've learned, however, that those are not the biggest lessons. Truthfully, the biggest lessons come from what could have been. I could have loved earlier, myself first, then others. I could have tried all, for me and for love. I could have cried more, in both sorrow and happiness. I could have just felt. Because life without feelings is death. And I was dead long before I decided to live. But you, my child, will feel. You, my child, will live. Thank you. I've been ushered back.
Yeah, so this is now the part for our Q&A. Like, that's a Q&A. So, first of all, those pieces were like so beautiful. So, my first question for you is, so what made you start writing poetry first of all?
Oh my gosh, I hate this question.
Oh no!
No, to be honest, I hate questions, so it's not this question. What made me start writing? It's funny, there's two stories. It depends on which version is I don't know, because both of them are just as valid. So I started actively, consciously writing poems in A levels because I had so much to say, but I didn't want anyone to know what I had to say. So I often refer to my poetry as concealed revelations. So at the depth of all these pieces, there were things that were going on in my life that I didn't want people to know because I was really ashamed. But then I needed to let it out. So poetry was sort of like my release in that way. And that was like how I actively started doing it. But poetry itself, my first poem, was written when I was 8 years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I used to go to drama school. I have the ability to act. And for our exams, they asked us to perform poems. And I remember I was practicing. And I was like, and then the week before my exam, I showed up at drama school and I was like, I want to do this poem. And then he read it. My drama instructor at the time read it and he was like, where's this from? I was like, I read it. And he was like, no, you can't do your own. I was like, but I want to. And I performed it for him and he was like, don't ever drop the pen. And so yes, I wrote my first poem at age 8 and I still have the poem in the house. But yeah, so I guess it was always a thing. And then even in secondary school, like I used to write poems, I used to perform. But then it was a very like passive thing then. But it wasn't up until I got to college, A levels, that I became very active with it. So which one do you think, when would you say I started writing?
I would say when you were 8.
And why? Like why? Because I wasn't satisfied with the standard that was out there. I mean, that's what the 8-year-old me was thinking. But yeah.
No, but that's amazing. I'm like a firm believer that we sort of come into this world like in a way knowing what we're meant to do, which is why like when you're really young, there's just something that like draws you to something. And I imagine like the 8-year-old you was just drawn to poetry because a lot of people are just be like,
It's weird because the 8-year-old me had so many ambitions, like things that, yeah, they're not for the camera. Like, she had so many ambitions, like, and I just remember being a poet wasn't even something I realized that people could do because in my head all the poets were dead, right? And as you go through school, then you're learning about people that are just really, really old or dead. So just like, who even wants to be? Why would you want to be a poet? And then you start writing your own pieces, and then you're just like, am I a poet, or do I just write a poem? Like it's really hard to navigate that in terms of identity. But I did come in contact with poetry, and I would say like words in general, speaking and being emotive. Those are the things that lived with me from my childhood down to this point, and have followed me in like my journey in life.
That's like a really lovely story. So my next question is, what word like do you think about when you think about, or what is like your biggest lesson from love?
If you asked me this time last year, I would have said love is bogus. But then this year, I'm gonna say the same word. Love is bogus, but in the sense that love defies all laws. With love, there's no logic. With love, there's no rationale. With love, there's no reason. And for that reason, you have to be very careful and mindful with love because it's very easy to lose yourself to it. But it's not something to be afraid of. Feeling love, I think love is an ultimate feeling, and it's one that when you lean into it, it's beautiful. And it doesn't always have to be romantic. I think finding romance and love in your partner, it's top tier, and it's nothing compares to it. But then the love that you have in friendship, the love that you have with your family, those two they're just as powerful. And when you don't have the romantic love, they feed you in a way that you don't feel like you're lacking. I mean, we're human beings, we'll crave companionship. It's natural to do that. But I think embracing love in all its forms, in all its ways, in everything that we do, just allows us to live life to the fullest.
No, I definitely agree that, like, yeah, like romantic love isn't like the only sense of love that fills you, like makes you feel whole. Like, I think there's so much of that love to explore with your family, your friends. But I'm one of those people that I'm on the borderline of like love scares me because of how encompassing it is.
So, fun fact: I've never told a man I love him. Never. The one, oh my god, I think he doesn't. He's not. He's definitely not listening because I know. But the one person that I come close, what I said was, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you," and that was the line I used to break up with him, because it was a case of, I knew I didn't love you in the romantic way. I love you more as my bro. Until date, like till today, we're bro. Like that's my bro. Like I even still message him. I was like, "Yo, I'm going through some shit. Like, right? Like, where are you at?" But I've just always I've found it so hard to surrender to love, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I understand the fear, but as I've gotten older, I think I'm leaning into the emotion a lot more. Still very scared of professing it, and I'll actually touch on something in a bit. So I'm very scared of professing it, but I'm not afraid of feeling it, and everything that comes with it, the anxiety, the pain, the joy, the excitement. There's so many things that come with love. But I think the fear that I have now is just professing it, because it's like, damn, I've really like done it. It's just because I've gone so far without ever saying it. I think that's why I'm so scared of saying it. But in terms of feeling it and leaning into it, I'm not afraid anymore.
Would you think, is it just saying the words out loud, or would you think like you could write a poem to kind of?
So, and this is why I said I was going to get in touch with something in a bit. I have a thing about, so one thing that a lot of writers will tell you to do is to journal, right? And I tell everyone to journal because I believe pouring, like, it's a release. I don't journal as much as I should. And that's because for me, writing means it's real. So I really struggle in terms of articulating the things that I'm not yet ready to deal with in words, in paper, in any form. So I would just not do it. It's probably here. Like there's definitely a poem for the person I love in my head. But in terms of putting it down or saying out, I'm not doing that.
No, I get it. Like, because I've only ever told one person I love them, but then I think I have been in love previously, but then I think my mind sort of registers it after the fact.
So hindsight is 2020, right? Like you will know that that was genuine love. And there was one person that I hindsight has shown me that I definitely did love. And I think since that person, I was finding that type of love again. The last person I was seeing showed me that the love that I desired existed. However, that wasn't the love for me. It's not the love that I need, if that makes sense. So I've understood love to be very dynamic in that sense. Like there's what you want and what you need in love. And this is why I say that love is bogus in the sense that you can follow the love that you want and ignore the love that you need. And that it's not self-serve, it's not great for you, because the outcome of that means you're probably going to lean into toxic situations. You're probably going to like betray yourself. You're probably going to lose who you are. Which is why it's always important to stay founded, like loving yourself. Like you understand what the truest version of love is when you love yourself, because you'll quickly be able to identify when you're not doing something. Like the language you use to yourself, that's it. I don't love me if I'm talking to myself that way. And the moment somebody else talks to you in a way that it won't register as love. Like there's nothing the person can say. If you love me, you can't speak to me that way because I don't speak to me that way. If you love me, you won't treat me that way. You won't. So you're quickly able to like disassociate all of those things. And I think just understanding like generally like what the love is for yourself first, Yeah, it's that first.
And I think to add to that, there is something about like when you spend that time focusing on like loving yourself, I feel like you get like this inner voice that kind of like it's like a meter to tell you when something doesn't feel right in your body.
Yeah, that's why I said like in the first poem, like when your gut says no, listen, like your body is so. In more recent years, I started listening to my body. My body talks. Like my body says a lot. And when people say body language and all of this, my body speaks like 10 different languages probably. But I listen to my body and I listen to what my like the innermost things in depth of me is saying. And I just when something doesn't align now, I just don't do it. Because with that last situation that I was in, at the back of my mind, I knew. But then I was getting, like I said, the love that I wanted. Like I was being loved out loud. The person was going around telling all my friends, yeah, like your friend, this one, that one, the other, coming to my house to pick me up, meeting my friends, getting on with my friends. Like it was good. It was these are the things you want in a relationship.
Yeah.
But at the core, there was something like, this isn't for you.
That just isn't
This
right.
This is not the love you need. And now that I've started to experience the love that I need, I'm just like, and but then that's forcing me to listen to me more. Like it's forcing me to understand myself more. Like it's a love that is making me love myself more first, and therefore love the person just as much.
Yeah, like they say, like you can't love someone else until you love yourself.
Honestly, you can't.
Like you really can't. And no, you just end up in a toxic ball of you do me, I do you, and then it just never works out. Yeah, I definitely think like listening to your gut, like self-love is like one of the most important love, and then like I think we talked about it in last session, and then you have the other forms of love kind of like help. Yeah. But a very random fact about body language is that body language is actually extremely real. But because human beings have learned to communicate via audio, we've forgotten like.
I have not forgotten. It's so funny because my friends that like I'm that person that they can't hide. My face can't hide what I'm feeling. So if you say something I disagree with, I would think that my face is very neutral. My face is not neutral. My body language is just like,
what is this?
And everybody's just looking at me like, compose. And I'm just like, oh, sorry. Oh yeah. Sorry, I drifted off there. But I understand like body language, and because I know my body speaks, I then speak to like I listen to other people's like characters, so I can tell when there's people in the room that are anxious and shy, or when someone's like I have a friend, he paces, and whenever he's pacing, before I used to be like, oh my god, stop it, you're annoying me. He still annoys me when he paces. But now I've learned that he's pacing because he's anxious about something. So what I tend to do is I'm like, so what are your plans for today? And then, talk to me about everything and then line things up, and then over time he just sits down and I'm just like, I'm at ease because you're at ease because we've talked it out. And as opposed to you're pacing, you're annoying me, what's going on? And everything like that. So I've learned to, pay attention to language and help people like understand themselves as well in that way.
That's actually a very like beautiful thing, because I read somewhere that like the best way to love people is actually by coming outside of yourself. Because I think a lot of times like we're in our heads a lot, especially when like we're in a relationship with somebody, we think about, oh, this person did this, but then sometimes when you come out of yourself and look at someone else, you realize that their view on the world is different, and like what you would think they're doing might not necessarily be what is in your mind.
It's the common phenomenon of projection, right? Where we just project whatever we understand things to be on someone else. And I think friendship has taught me this to the highest extent, that people's experiences are very unique. No matter how much you can go through the same thing, like I went to boarding school with a bunch of people, but the way we all remember that boarding school, totally different. Some people are like, yeah, it was just part of life. Other people are like, oh my god, I would do it again. And me, I'm just like, God, I people are like, you hated it. I didn't even know you hated it. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely hated it. The way I present my hate is different from you, but then understanding that and like how the rain would have different effects on people, sun would have different effects on people. Like understanding that there's a nuance in the way things appear to people, just means that when I am responding to things, I'm just like, oh, slow down. You're irritated by this, but how does this person feel about this? Or you're okay with this, but how does this person feel about this? And it just means whenever people do things, I don't take things so like, why would you do this to me? It's just oh, you've done this because obviously this means something else to you.
Yeah.
I want to understand that. And I will only invest myself if I care about the person. I don't care about you. I won't seek to understand. I'll just be like, I'm sorry, and be waiting. But if I want to if I care about you, I'll seek to understand why do you think that way? What are your experiences? What has led you to come to this? And then I'll also share mine, because that's what life is about, sharing experience. We don't have to experience everything in this life. I always tell people like, a lot of the things that you want to learn, somebody else has done it before you. The Bible, a lot of our, in fact, all of our problems exist in the Bible. If we're keeping it bug, every problem that we have, if you go inside the Bible, you find somebody. I remember when I was writing diary entries when I was going through a depressive episode, and then one day I was reading the Bible. I think it was Psalm 88, and I was reading. I was like, who copied my journal? I was like, what's going on? I was so baffled. But like a lot of things, like nothing is unique. Like no experience is unique to us. What is unique is the way we approach these situations. So it's really important that we have an open mind and understand like everybody has different experiences. And for that reason, like I feel like the more you lean into that, you become so much more unoffendable in life. And like a lot of things just don't get to you. Like things don't hurt you as much. Like you realize that people do things not to you just because of the way they are, and like you just keep moving.
It gives you a lot of peace,
Yeah.
definitely. Because like I used to be very anxious and like can be sometimes because I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't offend this person. And then the older I've gotten, I'm just realized I have no idea what that is going on in that person's head. Yeah, that would have offended me, but who knows? That might not offend that person. But then and apparently that coming out of yourself to see other people is actually what a lot of people find extremely attractive. So like
I'm joking.
but yeah, apparently that's how like that's one of the most seductive qualities of people. Like people that people that are able to like look outside of themselves and see other people, because like human beings, we're all craving connection. We all want to connect with people, and people that are able to look out of themselves and reach out to somebody else, apparently people find that like that's one of the most attractive traits also.
It's so funny you said that connection thing, because I feel like in the age that we are, people are presenting different to what they believe in the sense that I agree. I think everyone is craving connection and companionship. I think that's what everybody ultimately desires. However, I don't know if it's online, but everybody's pretending that that's not what they're about. Oh, I'm such a homebody. Oh, I'm so introverted. Oh, this, that, and the other. And this is not to say that there aren't introverts amongst us. This isn't to say that there aren't homebodies. This isn't to say that people don't need to recharge their batteries. But it's like, I think there's a dual, like, nobody wants to come out and say, I want companionship, I want connection. Like, there's a level of shame attached to it. Where I'm just like, well, why do you think you could do life alone? Like, God made Eve for Adam. Like, nobody's supposed to be alone. Like, you have friends, you have family, you have, like, make connections. Like,
I think
why are people fighting it?
I think it goes back to our first point in this, which is that fear. Like a lot of people want love, but are also afraid of it because it is very like all encompassing. It is very scary to be vulnerable with people.
Oh, that's true.
So I think it just goes back to that fear, like, oh, you want this thing, but then you need it, but then it's also scary.
What makes vulnerability scary? Because to me, vulnerability is powerful. The fact that you can open up your weaknesses, lay them bare in front of anyone, even yourself, and admit that, this part of me is tender, this part of me is sacred. I think that's a very powerful thing. It's humility and it's finance. To me, that's attractive. That's sexy.
It's definitely
So
is.
I'm just wondering why are people so scared of vulnerability?
I think it's the rejection because everyone has that story, whether they were 5, 10, where they were vulnerable with someone, they were in their 30s or 20s, and they felt that rejection. Like, it feels very powerful to be vulnerable, but then I think when you're still growing, particularly, and you're still not very strong in yourself, and you open up and you share who you are, and someone rejects that, I think that is like one of like the most painful heartbreak ever.
But we don't like everything. Nobody likes everything. Nobody likes everyone. Like, there's some people we just don't like their faces. There's some people we don't like their voices. There's something we're not supposed to like everything. So we can't accept everything. So therefore something's going to be rejected. And if you're going to reject someone or something, you're going to be the rejected at some point. So like, why can't, like, I'm not saying this is easy or anything. And this is coming from somebody who went through rejection upon rejection in so many ways. And that's probably why I got to this point. But I just feel like rejection needs to be normalized.
Yeah, it's part of life. I used to be very afraid of rejection, but then I see it more as a benefit. Like, I would rather have the rejection so I can go where my path is than to not be rejected and then be on some journey with someone.
Go where you're loved and not where you're tolerated.
Yeah, but it's taking me a long time to get there because it is like, even when I get rejected now, it still hurts. I might cry for 1 or 2 days.
And that's perfectly fine. You're a human being. I'll be scared of you. You've never cried in your life.
Yeah. But then ultimately, I think back and I'm like, okay, yeah, like, this is not my path and it's better. I want to go somewhere that feels like home. I don't ever want to be somewhere where I'm just there and I'm not appreciated for who I am, and then I have to go into my shell. But oh yeah, I wanted to see what people have been entering. Oh, someone started off as pain, vulnerability. I guess we discussed that. So we're gonna move on. Oh, spicy. Yes, love is.
My love is definitely spicy. Sometimes it comes with a bit of attitude and sass.
That's like what people
I
say.
feel like
That's the way Nigerian women love.
No, do you know what? Somebody asked me recently, like, am I a wicked lover? And I was like, what's a wicked lover? They're like, okay. So I think the example was, your husband is, in his early 40s. He's just come back from playing football and he has injured his leg. What is your response? I was like, who says you can't play football? I feel like, but at the same time, I've run the bath for him. I've made food. I come. Let me massage his leg. Don't go again.
That's how like all Nigerian friends are. They're like,
but the truth is, if you love yourself, why would you feel well, those 20-something-year-olds? You're in your 40s. The problem is you don't show yourself love. Why am I supposed to now show you love first? So obviously, I'll show you that what you did show yourself. That's what it is. But I'll show you that there's still love for you here.
Yeah. I get that. So I think that's spicy love. I think that's almost literally how like most Nigerian parents love. Like, they'll be like, "Who said you to break your leg?" You're like, "Oh, my leg is broken." But then they'll still care for you, pay for your hospital bill. Have you eaten? They'll give you food. But I just always think, do you have to say that? Like, I'm already in pain, but I take it as you also have to warn the person so they don't break their leg again. Maybe that's
also if you break your leg the second time, I'll just think like the next time. In fact, when your legs, should I help you break your leg again? That's what I'll ask after the second time.
Yeah. Oh, powerful. So yeah, if you're at home, like, please, the QR code is gonna come on screen again. So try to enter.
Love is home. I love that one. By love. Love is home.
Yeah. Love is definitely home.
Love is definitely home. Love is when you can be every version of yourself, the truest version, the razzest version, the shyest versions, the scariest versions, the boldest version, every version of yourself.
definitely. Like, that's how I see. Like, I have a couple of poems about like how love is like home. Is where like you don't feel rejected. Like you said, you could self. You can have your bad day. You can have your horrible days. You can have your good days. You can cry, and the person will just be there. Or the people will just be there. So definitely,
Do you write about love a lot?
I do. I write about love a lot, but I am moving on.
I used to write about, so when I started writing A levels, that was the only thing I could write about, and I'd never been in love, so it was very wild to me. I was like, wow, Conscious Pilot has a lot to say right now. But it was weird because I kind of felt like I forced myself to stop writing about love. And then when my grandma passed, I remember they asked me to come and write a poem, and I had nothing to say. I was like, but I loved this woman, and I don't have anything to say, and I felt so bad. And eventually it was something. And then I just didn't write any poems for like a year or 2 years after that. And then the first poem I wrote after that just wasn't about love. And it was only recently that I started writing about love, where I, started talking to myself, like having those conversations with myself, like, what does love mean to you? Do you love yourself? What love has happened? What love do you receive? And all of this, like, so it's more about I think my love poems now are conversations about love with myself.
Yeah, I just write about love a lot. I write about love a lot, mental health, and then also religion, but from like a I don't know how to explain the perspective, but from a perspective that religion is real, at least spirituality is real. But then should we think about religion a bit more? What are the things in religion that we should take out, keep? Like, who even created religion again? But then I do believe in like spirituality, and there is a God, and there's like something beyond us. So these are like the three topics I write. Or if I'm writing a play, then I tend to write about Yoruba fantasy. But a lot of times about love or mental health. Because like for me, I started writing I'm not very expressive as a person. Like, I don't really say what's on my mind a lot. I might tell like one or two friends, and then I started writing to help me like express myself and to talk more. And like I said, like love, I always know I'm in love after the fact.
Well, identify what love is and lean into it for yourself. I'm begging you.
I'm trying now, but like for me, it's always after the fact. Like maybe I stopped talking to that person, and I'm like, oh, did I? Like,
but in those instances, is it actually love, or is it like you're just so fond of the person and you just like everything? Because sometimes you like familiarity and love, like being familiar with something and just like the feeling, like the good feeling, the goodness and all of that. Sometimes we might think that that is love, and it might not be that.
Yeah, it's a familiarity. I know, all I know is that I've had like I said in my poem, like 3 loves, and I think 2 of them I always felt like after the fact I felt like my heart was in pain.
Well, I don't know, but
then
like
I remember first time I realized I was in love was after the fact, and I just felt like my heart was like in physical pain, and I was like, this love song is what they're writing about.
When that happens, love sucks.
It's
true. When that happens, love sucks.
It's true. So I started write, and I write about love a lot because I'm trying to help myself express my feelings more. Like, I'm more of a acts of service kind of person. Like, I care about you because I show up at places. Like, I'll help you. You can call me and I'll be there. But then to actually say it is something that I've been trying to practice through my writing.
What I've been writing about in recent years is grief. I've been exploring the emotion of grief and exploring the pains of grief and the emotions attached to it. Love is the common feeling attached to grief, because I mean, people will tell you all the time, what is love? Like, what's that quote from Avengers, the Avengers people? What is grief if not love enduring, or something like that? But I feel like exploring that has really helped me like become a lot more expressive because you realize there's no time. You actually have to tell people what you're thinking, what you're feeling. So it's really important. And I guess that's kind of also why I'm a bit like before I was not expressive. I was very like I was my ex used to call me a cold-blooded mule, to be precise.
Oh, wow.
But now I'm just like let's hold hands. I love friendships that allow me to hold hands in public. Like,
That's
we hold hands and like there's some people that just wouldn't even like ask questions. They're just like you just put your hand out, they just put that. They love it. I have some guy friends like I hold their hands like, what are you doing? I'm just like you shall remove my hand. I'm not blocking. Sorry. Let them at least I said there's still some girls that will still move to you because they can see that you're holding hands. Like it's good. I'm selling you a market. But yeah, I just become more like I want to be with my friends. I want to love out loud.
Yeah, that I definitely want to do that too. More love out loud, live out loud, express myself, like just be more free. I think that's my own thing, like in every sense of the way. But we're coming to the second half of the final half actually of this evening. So if you've been entering your words, we're gonna create a poem with the words people have been entering in today. So if you haven't yet, scan the QR code. There should be a link in the chat. And we're gonna flowers in the desert. Those are like imperfect. Yes, love is imperfect. So by
love is risking it all. I wanted to point that one out. I saw that love is risking it all.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, risking it all.
Very risky.
It's very risky, but it's worth it in the end when it works out. So, we're gonna create our first poem. So, like I said in the beginning, at Mudhole, we like to use technology to bring people together. So, we're gonna create a poem with the audience at home, basically. So we're gonna create our first one based on the words people have been entering. So I'll wait for the producer to get started.
Can I just say I really love like this use of technology. I went to a wedding recently and I remember telling myself after, like I've started telling people, I was like, I want to have a QR code on the wedding program that just gives people information and like interactive stuff to do while they're waiting between stuff. Like, but it's still very on theme about my wedding and like, or just about me.
Oh, hire us! How we do these things?
I was just like, I was just like, and then also like a QR code, like you scan it and they're like, switch off your phone. Like during the wedding, like the ceremony, phones were going up. I'm just like, where's your phone on? Put it on silent. But yeah,
no, hire us up for your wedding. Looking forward to it. Okay, so we're generating our first poem. Ooh! Do you want to read it out loud or should I?
I'm gonna have a go at this. My love for her knows no bounds. I climb the highest mountain to kiss her lips, feel her skin, and show her how much she means. The sparks between us ignite like stars in the night skies above. For the moment, I'd lose all sight of the world except for her love. It's powerful.
It's very powerful.
She holds my heart and my soul, though I can hardly explain the strength of my love so bold. I love her through every string. My love for her is so deep. I do anything and everything.
Wow, I wonder what words made this word. I think in the next but I'm probably risking it all.
That second paragraph, the sparks between us ignite like stars in the night skies above. For a moment, I lose all sight of the world except for her love. Bruv. If somebody said that to me, I have their babies. I would be like, as they finished the sentence, I'd be pregnant.
Yeah, this is the thing that scares me about love. The all-encompassing. Like I want some autonomy.
She's like, how am I not seeing anything but hey.
Okay, let's do. Would you two more? This is a complicated.
I want you to do this one.
I don't even. Okay. And when love is unrequited and hearts are unbearably broken, still kindness is a flame ignited. By deep candor, death can't token. Through love can be unkindly cruel, and bitter words may sting and burn. Still kindness has a gentle feel to heal and help broken hearts to turn. Let kindness be the call of love, its arms entwined our silence. Let peace and joy its presence prove. Sorry. Blessed are those who show such kindness. So this is definitely kindness.
I like this. Oh, this is like, you know when you go through friendship breakups? Like, this is the healing one. These are the healing words you need to hear.
Yeah.
These are the healing words you need to hear. Like, this is nice.
Yeah, I like this. Still kindness is a flame.
It's hard to choose kindness, man.
Yeah, it can be hard. But it is. I think it's.
No, that you see that when they go low, you go high. Sometimes you want to go lower. It's hard.
What I just always think is just that life is tough, like already. Like when people are mean, I'm always like, life is so hard. Why do you have to add to like the meanness of it all? Like unprovoked. Why? Yeah, but it can be hard to be kind sometimes. Okay, we'll do one more. I feel like this might be kindness again. Oh no, it isn't. Do you want to take this one?
Okay. Life is a story so brief and strange, a melody both passionate and strange. A love, of course, holds great importance, a deep emotion on which we must dance. Love sees no race, no gender, no bounds, a bond and emotion without sound. It leads us through all our sorrow and strife, lifting us up in joy and love's life. Love is the greatest of all human traits. It relieves our grief, it comforts awaits. It shows us the way when all else fails, and with its light our hearts it heals.
Wow. I think the audience tonight, you guys have really narrowed down love.
Wow. I don't think I'd ever articulate love like this.
Yeah.
Melody both passionate and strange.
Strange. The
I
power.
was giving it a Mafiano meet gospel.
I feel like the word might have been home. I feel like it was trying to, or like maybe safety was actually. It was trying to.
I love is shaking.
Who hurt you?
It's funny because I'm working on a project with somebody soon that has something to do with love and shaking. So if it's you that did that, sis, I hope it's you.
Wow.
But if it's not her, and you know somebody has showed you shaky, I'm so sorry. Take it home.
Yes, we send you love and kindness. Yes. Yes. Hopefully, your next love will show you home.
Amen.
I know more shaky. Hopefully. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our evening. So we're just going to show you what we have next up on Mod Hub. First of all, really, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This was so much fun. I had such a good time. And like, thank you for sharing your poetry, your experience. Like, it's been an amazing evening, if I do say so myself. So thank you, audience at home, for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you also for sharing. Like, I'm sure whoever wrote Shaggy, that was very vulnerable of them. So thank you so much for
recovery.
Step one, yes. So thank you for sharing. So up next, I'm just going to talk about what we have coming up next. So for Mod Hub, you probably will see this in the presentation at home. We have our next at-home experience, and we're going to move away from the topic of love. And our next project is called In My Feelings Tickets are live now if you want to sign up and get ready. We're going to have it online on the 24th of May. It's on the screen, which I can't see, but the date is there.
24th of May. I got it.
24th of May, and it's going to be virtual like this, and we're going to have more poets, and we're going to also change up the technology a bit, so they're going to be a little bit more cool features for you guys to experience at home and feel more immersed in the experience. And we'll have a live event soon, so if you follow us on like Instagram, Twitter at mudhut.io, so that's MUDHUTIO, or you go to our website, you see when our next event is coming up. So thank you so much, and good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.